for joining me here on the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast to go over some of the last couple of games here from Week 4. There was a lot of good games, a lot of games that we didn't get to talk about this in yesterday's show. So we're going to bring it up today, talking about the Washington Commanders, right? A big story, I think, starting to gain some traction here because the Commanders, Jayden Daniels, continue their impressive run on Sunday for their third consecutive win, 42-14 over the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals unfortunately dropped to 1-3 now, and the Commanders have scored at least 30 points in 2 straight games for the first time since 2017. 7 years since that has happened, and it is still like I think people are approaching the Commanders still with a weary sort of approach. Like we kind of like what we're seeing, but we're not fully bought in. And that's understandable, but looking at this game, I think it has filled me with a bit more of confidence in this team and how they're going about it the right way. And looking at some of the information from this game, right? Jayden Daniels, again, from only having one incompletion against the Bengals last Monday night, he goes into this Sunday's game and he finishes 26 of 30, has 4 incompletions, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. If I'm not mistaken, he also ran one in as well. Also has an 82% completion percentage on the year. I'm not sure if that exactly leads the NFL right now, but regardless of that fact, 82% for a rookie for this Commanders team that a lot of people really had no true belief in is absurd. Whether or not he's first, third, or second on that list, it's remarkable what that stat is. So that speaks volumes to me. The running game had another great performance by Brian Robinson, 21 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Also, 4 total rushing touchdowns in this game. Like I said, Jayden Daniels had 1. McNichols had 2 as well, and Brian Robinson obviously the other one. Another great sign. They're not just reliant on Jayden Daniels and how accurate he is. How accurate he is kind of based off of how good they are in the run. So that's a great thing to see as well. Terry McLaurin had a decent game, 7 receptions for 52 yards and another touchdown as well. Zacchaeus, one of the receivers, 6 receptions for 85 yards. Not that he's not capable of it, but very good performance by these other guys that are also stepping up outside of Terry McLaurin. And on the side of the Cardinals, it's been a rough go at it since that first, they beat the brakes off of the Rams, right? That was a great game for them. They were close in that game against the Bills, but it has been a rough going against the Lions and now against the Commanders. Kyler finished 16 of 22, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. James Conner, pretty good game, 18 carries, 104 yards, and 1 touchdown as well. And Marvin Harrison also, the 1 touchdown that Kyler did throw was to Marvin Harrison Jr. He led all wide receivers with 5 receptions and 45 yards. Now we're starting to see those problems, right, with Marvin Harrison. There was no Trey McBride in this game as well. They desperately missed him, obviously, but with how not one-dimensional, but how reliant they are on, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., the most talented player on that offense, maybe the entire team, arguably. They know the ball's going to go to him, so teams are naturally going to take him away, and then this offense kind of stumbles and stutters a little bit, and against the Commanders, who have been red hot, you get results like this. But in the game and how it all broke down, it was actually Arizona who scored first through a great touchdown grab and throw by Marvin Harrison Jr. to start off the game. But Washington was ready to get going in this game, kind of carry over the momentum from Cincinnati, and they scored on their first drive as well with Brian Robinson. And then while Arizona sort of stalled off a little bit in their next couple drives, Washington stayed with their continued efficiency, and they scored another touchdown, making it 14-7, obviously. And then it was actually a close game at halftime, 17-7, but Washington scored out of halftime. Then they tacked on a field goal before Arizona could score their second touchdown of the game. And by that point, it was 27-14, and it was almost too little too late for the Cardinals at that point because the Commanders scored again, and the Cardinals didn't score, obviously, for the remainder of that game. So, the Commanders, their offense is obviously jumping off of the page now, right? That's back-to-back games putting up 38 points against the Bengals and now 42 in this contest. The offense has scored on or had scored on every drive over the last two games with the exception of kneel downs. Heading into this contest obviously, and then it was, ultimately ended after this game after Jayden threw that interception, but it's not just based off of that, right? It's not just the fact that they're scoring. It's the way that they're going about it, right? Like I said before, they're using the run game. They're putting Jayden Daniels in some very, very favorable situations where, based off of the run game and how efficient it has been, I've been impressed with their offensive line as well, and how they have those foundations set in right now for Jayden Daniels. Then you go to Jayden Daniels and you tack on his expertise, his level of experience at LSU, being there for, I think he was in college for 5 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, and how that has made this transition a lot easier. As long as the Commanders put the pieces around him, they're doing that. They did that with Cliff Kingsbury, changing everything about this organization from the top all the way down to the bottom, and it's showing now with this record being 3-1. They have not scored less than 20 points this at all this year yet. This offense has shown it's good enough to go out to get out two leads and be a big help for this defense as well. That isn't elite by any means. They have good players. They got guys like Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Dorrance Armstrong, Bobby Wagner, who they brought on, etc., etc. But because this offense has been built the right way, because they're going about things the right way, it makes this defense look a lot better. And then once you have that, once you have one side of the ball complementing the other, then you get results like this, right? Teams that are 3-1, undefeated right now, have some aspect of that separates them from the rest of the NFL. And some teams, like the Ravens, like the Bengals a little bit, are starting to get it a little bit more. And you see them now, getting back to 500 and things like that. So I like what the Commanders are doing. Scoring 30, 40 points, I don't think that part is sustainable. We're going to see over the next couple of weeks. They have a couple of good tests coming up against the Browns, and then they're going to be at the Baltimore Ravens after that. So in situations where, like I said, this offense clearly seems like it's capable of going out and getting into leads and helping their defense out a lot that way, there could be a couple situations in these next couple games where they are down, and then how does the defense respond in that point? Is the defense able to step up to the challenge and help out the offense, creating turnovers, stalling out the other team? Are they able to complement going the other way, right? Not just a one-way street, but the defense also stepping up. And when that happens, and if that happens, what does the offense do with more pressure on them now to go out and score 20, 25 points, maybe against the Ravens where they don't have much of the ball, so every possession is much more valuable? Are they able to keep going, go kind of toe-to-toe, score for score with the Ravens in a game? And if they're able to do that, or at least kind of stay close, I think we'll be, reaching that next step with the Commanders in terms of our belief. But, it is looking promising. Jeff Gillis, it's still early in the season. It is. It really is. I don't know how much you watch, like, these sports shows and everything, but a lot of people are kind of overdoing it now with the Commanders, and I'm kind of close to getting there. I don't want to overdo it, right? Obviously, we're only through a quarter of the season, but it is hard to ignore Jayden Daniels and how good he has been. Roster going piece by piece, roster by roster, breaking it down, they're probably nowhere near the Lions, who I just talked about. Probably not really the 49ers also. The Packers are also very talented. But to start off like this, and I think it's more of an emphasis on that division, because 3-1, based on how the Cowboys have looked, how obviously the Eagles have looked, who we talked about, it looks like the Commanders are or have the clearer picture of what they want to be. So is this offense sustainable for the entire year? Probably not to this level, but we're going to see them be tested, and then from that point, we're going to have a better response and really know what this team is made of. But great start regardless of the fact. Jayden Daniels has probably jumped into the favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year, and it's hard not to jump on the bandwagon. I'm not there yet. I'm kind of inching towards there, but against the Browns, against the Ravens, we're going to be hopefully entertaining games that give us more answers after those contests. But that'll be all on that game. Another great performance by the Commanders. So lastly here, we're going to head to our last break, and when we return, we're going to look at the other Monday Night Football game between the Titans and the Dolphins. A much-needed win for the Titans, and where do the Dolphins go now? Losing a game like this with your offense disappointing once again. We're going to discuss that in the next segment after this break. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.